Next, we have Katana computer graphics, scene management, and lighting software. As you can imagine, there's a lot of structure in describing a computer graphics scene. All the geometry, lights, their positions, and animation are described with what's called a scene graph. During the render, the scene graph is traversed to figure out what is in the scene and where everything is. Katana was written in the mid-2000s at Sony Pictures Imageworks and can be thought of as a kind of meta lighting tool. It's actually a tool that has a node graph that builds scene graphs. If this makes no sense, don't worry. Experienced artists often need weeks to wrap their heads around this concept, as do dumb actors. Hey, come on, a finger pointing?
No, not me.
But the concept is a powerful one. Scene graphs are very light and quick to examine. It's only when a tool uses the scene graph to construct the world that things get expensive fast. So, manipulating the scene graph with Katana's node graph is very fast and lightweight. And when we finally get to the actual render for lighting, only the parts of the scene that need to be built are built. With this power, Katana can deal with enormous scenes that would normally crush other lighting tools. Katana's unique design, featuring a deferred evaluation procedural node graph, provides a highly efficient lighting and rendering workflow. It allows artists to non-destructively edit scenes too complex to fit into computer memory. It scales from a single object up to an entire detailed city. For the creation of the Katana computer graphics scene management and lighting software at Sony Pictures Imageworks, the Academy is pleased to present Technical Achievement Awards to Steve LaVietes, Brian Hall, and Jeremy Selan. Gentlemen.
When you work on movies, but within our specific discipline, you often have to dispel the misconceptions of friends and family members about our glamorous lifestyles, mostly because we sit in the dark typing and drawing diagrams on whiteboards. But just for tonight, we can let that slide, because what's more glamorous than the crew of the Star Trek Enterprise? To that end, we are honored and grateful that the Academy also places a spotlight on the nerdy stuff that we do. As a team, we'd like to acknowledge the Imageworks development group management, past and present, specifically Brian Keeney, who originally assembled our team and whom, along with Eric Strauss, managed and protected us in the early days. We'd like to mention Rob Brado, whose leadership is really key in making Imageworks a great place to work. We'd like to acknowledge our early team members, specifically Jeff Hill, for their technical contributions and ongoing friendships, and acknowledge our development partners at the Foundry, specifically Andy Lomas, who have brought our tools to a much wider audience, because the ongoing thrill for us is seeing what the artists and filmmakers make with our tools. Just briefly, on a personal level, I really need to acknowledge my wife, Kristen, who has been fully supportive and mostly tolerant of the long hours that we put in the early days. She's also had to tolerate a lot of discussions about nodes and vectors at every social gathering with these guys. And I want to mention my mother, who let me dip into the college savings to buy that Macintosh 2 SI in 1991. It turned out to be even more career-defining than I swore it would be to her at the time. Thank you very much.
Just like to add a personal thank you to Rob Brado, who almost 20 years ago got me into this industry and has been a great mentor. Also, my parents, Meryl and Mary Hall, especially my dad, who introduced me to programming early on, and to my wife and my kids. Just love you guys. And this is for you.
I want to thank Professor Don Greenberg, who really saved me from an otherwise boring career in computer chip design. You know, this is a little more fun. I want to thank George Jablov, who's here, for giving me the opportunity to come out to Sony all those years ago. I want to thank my wife, Julie, my parents, Jan and Steve, and my brother, Daniel, for being so supportive all these years. And I want to thank Brian and Steve. I couldn't be more lucky. So thank you very much.